Good morning, boys and girls, and welcome once again to the southern wing here of the Stink Bug Works. I'm still in a state of disarray from Wednesday's excellence in boating adventure. My batteries have now just finally been charged down to a storage state, and I'm ready to put them away. One thing you guys have remarked is, boy, you sure have a lot of batteries. Yeah, but they're little batteries and they're cheap. They're like $10 batteries. Don't be impressed. This is not an expensive stack of batteries. It's cheap. Anyway, one of my viewers commented that now that I have access to a laser cutter, oh boy, are we going to have fun. Now that I have access to a laser cutter, that I should make the twin cat I did some years ago. Now, that was a cool cat, but, there were some things about it I didn't like. The way the sponson sides wrapped around the bow, it allowed the bow to form this big laminar sheet of water, which just sucks all the energy out of the system. And that it would do that in a turn. It would throw this big laminar sheet that would just bleed off all the speed. I did not like the shape of it, so I'm going to redo it. And to that end, the Randy Naylor Micro Scat Cat. I have one of the few remaining Randy Naylor Micro Scat Cats. And it was a simple design, and it was fast, and it cornered really well. And it was about in the 14-inch range. Now, you remember that fiberglass one I was running was 17 inches. And so I'm thinking I might just, for those of you interested in a catamaran, do something along the lines of the Micro Scat Cat. I've got a video of mine running somewhere. I set it up with twin outrunning helicopter motors, and it worked really good. And that was the first boat I ever used the 1/32 wire drive in. I was really constrained for room. We didn't have little tiny flex cables at the time. And since I was going so small, the side loads on 16th wire drive at those little distances I was working with would have been too high. And I just said, well, let's try 32nd. And it worked really well on the 120th hydros as well, except when you put too much power into them and they turn into a pretzel. But in low power applications, they work really well. So back to the twin cat. The one I built was a single engine, but I had a backup of a twin, which I've since sent to Never Never Land. And I wasn't really happy with the motor access. That was one of the big things, was getting at the motors. And now that I've discovered the clamp style motors where you can drop a motor in this way as opposed to bringing it in that way. So I may be able to have holes in the top of the sponsons and go through there, or go through the inner wall of the sponson at the tub. The problem is these tubs, these little hydros, or not hydros, these little cats, they're not very deep. Because the whole point is you want air in there, and so the depth volume of the the depth volume. The depth of that tub isn't very much. So that's why, putting the motors down. Now, here's another thing I'm really thinking of. The new motors, the 700 series new motors, they're the size of a 2040 motor. A 707 is about the size of a 2040. I think the 705 uses the same case, just a shorter stator and shorter windings. That was a cost compromise on Steve's parts. And so with the smaller motors, you just get some air in the back of the motor instead of windings and stator laminations. But his motors are set up with a triangular bolt pattern as opposed to where everybody else is in a X. And I have a mind to redo a Cat and use those motors. And I think I may be able to get those motors to clamp in those same clamps. I'll have to look. In fact, I may just order a couple of them to have for a future project. You know how I am. I buy parts for future projects and wait for a project to come along. So anyway, there's some thinking. There may be Cats in the future. I can absolutely, without a doubt, cut the two hydros and the tunnel jet today. I've got the artwork laser ready. And now, I used to send it out and I could get two hulls in one sheet. I could get two Atlases, two short circuits, or two tunnel jets. I keep wanting to say secret project, but it's a tunnel jet. But now, I can put an Atlas on half the sheet and a tunnel jet on the other half of the sheet and cut it all at once through the magic of AutoCAD. Bingo, just grab the drawing and move it over here. Paste, cut, paste. So I can mix and match. I'm going to use the same shipping boxes. It's roughly $15, sometimes $18 to ship it across the country, but it comes uncrushed, and I can get several kits in one box. So kits are probably going to be right around what they were. They were like $50, so it'll be $50 plus shipping kind of thing, because I got to buy boxes and and packing materials and tape. Yeah, welcome to the world of business. No, I like seeing you guys get a good product. I'll give you a good product at a cheap price. You'll like what I do, and you'll have cool little boats. You can't get them anywhere else. Of course, once you build one of mine, you go, oh, I can make my own and different. Oh, you know what I'd really like to do? Since you're getting mindless, unscripted wanderings, what I'd really like to do is I'd like to make a deal with Big B and laser cut his tiny Titan. His little 1/8 scale Neeler Hydro. That's 12 inches long. It's 1/8 scale and it's a foot long. That would be a fun project. And maybe now Big B just kind of made it look good. Maybe I could find some scale models or some scale prototypes and do something that you modelers, you Sams out there, who I'm talking about, could detail it up, with motors and gas tanks and steering wheels and all the little pulleys and steering lines. Oh, yeah, you guys could have fun with it. So there's a whole bunch of stuff in the future with the laser cutter. Like I said, I already have drawings for motor mounts and servo mounts, and with having to subcontract out laser cutting, there were minimums. I couldn't go cut one part to test it and see if it worked and if I needed to change this angle over here to something else. Now, having that in-house, I can just go throw a piece of scrap on there, cut that one little piece. Okay, does that one? Okay, so I think it'll be a boon to speeding up prototyping. For example, all the little busts that I found in the, when it was Secret Project. You know, this thing was off by a 1/16 of an inch because I forgot to add that part in. So, see, I model these things in 2 dimensions, and I don't use 3D software because I've been using 2D AutoCAD for, God, when did AutoCAD come out? When did I first start using AutoCAD? That was when I was doing construction management out in the desert. That would have been in the 80s? Could it have been in the 80s? Anyway, I've been doing 2-dimensional AutoCAD for a long time because, you know, civil engineering plans, they're flat pieces of paper that you give to government people. So I don't have any need for 3D. So, and because of that, then when parts are fitting together, I have to do the 3rd dimension in my mind, and I'm visualizing, you know, I've got this piece and this piece. Okay, I'm looking at this, and when I rotate it here, what it's going to look like. What? Okay, now this is, and so I have to do a lot of that. And that's where sometimes I forget to add in the 1/16 of an inch because this piece is glued to that piece. And having the laser here, I can prototype those parts, find those busts right away, edit them out before I start wasting big chunks of wood. And away we go. So, until next time, boys and girls, jet out.